Sometimes it can be hard to find a place to put hanging plants, especially if you live in a rented property. You know, most landlords don't want you to put holes in the ceiling. But we're going to make this hanging plant holder. While we're at it, I'm going to show you a couple things and how you can take a simple design and dress it up just with a couple of extra cuts. So I've gone ahead and cut all my pieces for this hanging plant holder. And I've got to tell you, I cheated a little bit. First of all, I didn't have any 2x4s on hand. All I had was 2x6s. They were left over from another project, so it really didn't hurt to use them. I just had to rip them down to the right size. Part of the reason I was willing to do that is that my local lumberyard here isn't really good at providing great 2x4. If I'd gone to buy 2x4s, they would give me construction grade 2x4s. And that means there'd probably be some weighing in it, and there'd be maybe some warping, maybe some twisting, and it would have been really hard to build the plant holder out of. So I decided that I'd use the 2x6s I had, which were nice and flat and straight, and pretty good 2x6s actually. Yeah, that's one of the nice things you can always do with a project is to dress it up a little bit. And if you've got a router handy, you know, adding a molded edge makes all the difference in the world for even something made out of about 2x4s. For example, this is the base, which is supposed to be 2x6, and I put a bevel all the way around it. Okay, these are the two uprights, and I went ahead and beveled the outside edges of those two. This only took me a few minutes to do on the router, and adds a lot to it. And then the top piece, I was concerned about making that corner joint come out right, especially there on the top where it would be really visible. On the bottom, it's not so bad. So what I've done is cut the ends of it a little bit, and I'm going to have it overhang about an inch on either side. So then I have to worry about those corners lining up exactly right. Now all I've got to do before I can start worrying about assembly is sand them. And in sanding, since this is a project made of 2x4s, it's a bit rustic, I'm not real concerned about getting a fine finish. What I'm really concerned about is getting rid of any marks from the sawmill, like this stamp here and this marking, which may just be dirt. Those are the types of things I want to get rid of so that they don't show up in my final piece. This project is put together largely with pocket holes. So I've got my pocket hole jig out, and I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes. Now you got to make sure when you're doing pocket holes that you set the jig for the appropriate material thickness. In this case, 1.5 inches thick. Last project I did was 3/4 of an inch thick. So if I had forgotten this, it might be problematic. Now I did a pretty good talk about how to use the pocket hole jig in the project of making the clamp rack. So if you want more information about it, I'd suggest you check there. In this case, I'm drilling 2 holes in each of the sides of the sides. Okay? And I want to center it. So I've made a mark on the board, and there's a mark here on the jig for centering it. Now, different jigs are different, but they'll all have that. And I had to set my bit depth for 1.5 inches thick material. So that's important. Okay, so both the jig and the bit depth have to be set properly. One nice thing about working with pocket joints is that if you get a little off, it really isn't going to hurt anything. The main reason I'm concerned about centering it properly is appearance more than anything else. If my holes are a little crooked or they're a little off center, it's still going to join. I don't have to match up with other holes in another piece of wood. One nice thing about working with pocket screws is you really don't absolutely have to use corner clamps to put together. But because of how long my pieces are, and that's a bit long for what most people consider doing with corner clamps or with pocket holes, I'm going to go ahead and use the corner clamps anyway. I've propped up the other end of the piece here with some blocks that are cut to the same thickness as my corner clamps to make sure I keep it straight in that direction as well. We want to install the hook into the top bar before we attach the top bar to the rest of the frame. All right, so we're ready to put the base on. By drilling a clearance hole in the base piece, the threads really won't engage there, they'll engage here, and then the screw head catches on the wood and pulls it together. That's ideal, okay? The other thing I did is I went ahead and countersunk these holes to make sure that the head of the screw sits below flush, because if it sits up, again, that's going to make it rock or wobble. So, and finally, I put a mark on here so I know how to align it with this piece. Now notice it's sitting here up on a couple of blocks. This is all 2x4, this is 2x6, it's 2 inches wider. So that means I should end up with 1 inch of space on either side, the front and the back as it's standing, when I put it together. Okay, the way I make sure that happens, I put a 1 inch block of wood underneath this on both sides, all the way, so it's sitting level. And that puts the 1 inch of space on the bottom side, which should leave me 1 inch of space on the top. So let's go ahead and line it up here. I'm going to go ahead and clamp it in place. And I clamp just about everything I can, because you'd be surprised, you start putting a screw in, even something as simple as this, and the force of that screw in will cause it to walk. Now we can put our screws in. And there's our frame. The last thing we need to do on our hanging plant hanger here is to put some dowel pins in the holes that we made with the pocket jig. And one of the nice things about pocket jigs is that it gives you this capability. Most of the time pocket jig holes are used and pocket hole joinery is used when you've got a hidden situation, like the face frame of a cabinet, and you're putting the pocket holes on the inside. But every once in a while you get a situation where you want to use this form of joinery, but it's going to be visible. Okay, so here's how you solve that problem, okay? The holes pop in a piece of dowel rod. Now I'm using 3/8 inch dowel rod here for this because the holes are 3/8 of an inch in diameter. That's logical, right? And the pieces I've cut are 2 inches long, which is just about right for this particular application. So I'm just putting a little glue around the end of it, because when you put a dowel rod into a hole, the wiping action actually spreads the glue out. So we put those in there, we let the glue dry, and then we're going to cut them off and sand it, and that'll give it a more finished look. We won't have those holes visible. It's been a couple of hours now since I went ahead and glued these dowel pins in, and so now all I've got to do is cut them off and sand it smooth. You'll need a flush cut saw of some sort for this. There's several different ones around. This is one by DeWalt that I particularly like. And it's fairly easy to cut them off. I mean, we're not talking a very thick piece of wood. And once those are cut off, quick work with the sander will smooth it out the rest of the way. So here's our finished hanging plant holder. Looks pretty good. It's nice and solid. And all we need is a hanging plant. We're probably going to put this in our backyard, but you could use a lot of different places. You could use in the house. You could use on the patio. We've just got this little seating area we're creating. Going to have a nice bench there, and this will go really well with it. So this is a great way of just brightening things up a little bit without having to put holes in your house. That's the important part.